are those who would say my first guest's life story would make a great country tune. As you'll see about Randy Travis, it's all there: passion, poverty, trouble, and triumph. Last year, he headlined the highest grossing country concert tour ever. This year looks like a repeat, with a road tour longer than Willie Nelson's ponytail.
Fiddle and rhythm guitar.
Stand by, here we go.
Been broke down, but now I'm back on the road.
The sounds of country music may still be simple, but how artists like Randy Travis bring those sounds to fans is not.
Okay, these go to Randy.
Setup for his concert at Atlanta's Omni resembles a sort of laid-back military operations maneuver. The Travis troops were fresh from 2 months of R&R. January's show was only the second night of a year-long tour.
Check, check, one.
Still, it's an all-day job, right up to the sound check. First, there's one for musicians. And then there's one for the star.
This old road is taking its toll. Been broke down, but now I'm back on the road. I found only two things that last till the end. One is your hero, the other's your friend.
His voice blends power and ease, complemented by a sweet traditional twang, and it's backed by a simple style. And that style attracts millions. His fan club numbers 13,000. That's bigger than the population of his hometown. His first album expected to sell about 20,000 copies. It sold over 1 million. The first debut album by a country artist ever to go platinum. To date, Storms of Life has sold over 30 million copies.
That same old feeling more than once.
At 31, that country boy style is successful enough to attract the greats of country music to perform on his latest recording, Heroes and Friends. Who gave you the willies the most when it was time to do the duets? Which of all the singers you were shaking in your boots?
I think George Jones. I think singing with George was a little more intimidating than anybody else.
I like that. A few old country boys. It sounded like you were saying on one hand, yes, this is something I've always wanted to do, and he was saying, we were wondering who this young upstart was.
That's exactly what it was saying.
Guitars pressed against our hearts.
And it made me feel good, too, because it was written especially for us.
Travis also teams up with bluesman B.B. King, who's to guitars what Stradivarius is to violins. And no one knows that better than Randy Travis.
And I can think what he's doing up here, but it don't translate to my hand down here for some reason. My fingers won't do what my mind's telling them to when I'm playing.
But it was the Travis voice that attracted the folks at the Grand Ole Opry. At 27, he became the youngest and probably the most scared member of that prestigious Country Hall of Fame.
It was fun. It was a great night, but man, I was so nervous. I couldn't sing. I couldn't sing good because I was so nervous, you know. Being a little nervous kind of helps, but past a certain point, it gets to you too much, I think.
Even when he's nervous, there's no mistaking the sounds of tradition in Travis style. The feelings and the message in his songs remind critics and fans of much older artists. Singers like Hank Williams, Ernest Tubb, Merle Haggard, George Jones. What makes country music? You know, do you have to suffer to have a song? I mean, help me define country music.
I don't think you have to live through it. You know, I've lived, of course I had some hard times and lived through some of the things I've sang about. George Jones probably lived through most of what he sang about. But I don't think you have to go through quite that many hardships. I don't think going through the hardships made me a singer. I think just because I was blessed with a voice and I had a love for it and a feel for that.
Randy Traywick grew up with country music. His daddy wanted him to be a singer badly enough to buy Randy and his brother instruments and to take them touring away from his hometown in North Carolina. He liked performing almost as much as he hated school. Randy dropped out in the 9th grade, and by that time he was performing by himself. Adolescence was filled with music, but he says it was also filled with drugs and alcohol. He ran away from home several times. He was arrested for DUI, fighting public drunkenness. At 16, he was on probation and sick from chemical abuse. And the singer who looks like the boy next door found himself facing a prison term for breaking and entering.
What were you doing that for?
Well, I don't know. I have no clue as to why I did a lot of the things I did. I was just a crazy kid. I mean, we were, that last thing we did, we were out drinking, you know, and I was just about 16 years old. But anyway, we were drunk, I mean, to be truthful. And I broke in the store and I took about a lot of things, and that was the last thing I got caught for. And I went into court that day, and my lawyer said, well, I don't think I'm going to be able to get you out of this one, because he'd done so much beforehand. He said, you're probably going to go for about 5 years. And so I was basically had that in my mind. I'm gone this time.
But he wasn't. Randy's deliverance from jail was the woman who ran a country music club in Charlotte.
I had to learn the hard way. No shortcuts to easy street.
Before his final arrest, Randy had won a singing contest at the club. Lib Hatcher believed enough in his talent that she testified for him in court. Randy was released in her custody, and she became his manager.
If Lib hadn't come into your life, where do you think you'd be right now?
Right at this point, I don't know, but for a while I would have probably been in jail, to be truthful with you. Because in the direction I was going, had I not met her to stop me from continuing in that direction, I know I would. I'd have gone to jail for a while.
It seems Lib kept Randy so focused and busy, he simply didn't have time for his old life. In the 15 years they've been together, much has been said about a romantic relationship between the pair. They both have denied it, even when there's been no other woman in Randy's life since he met Lib. They live together and travel on tour together. She would not talk about the relationship.
When are you going to marry Lib?
I don't have any plans to get married anytime soon.
Why won't Lib marry you? Lib's shaking her head over there. I don't believe this woman's asking this question.
I don't know.
I'm not asking the viewers.
I haven't asked her.
You're still just best friends.
Yeah, I have no plans to get married right at the moment, no.
That ring is gorgeous on her hand.
Well, thank you. It is pretty, and but I mean, it's not an engagement ring, don't get me wrong.
It just didn't make sense, but Randy and Lib's relationship has had tongues wagging for years. In fact, the latest controversy occurred when the National Examiner published an article suggesting Travis is gay. Travis denies the charge, and in an article in the Washington Post newspaper, quote, Travis now says he and Lib have been a couple for 12 years, but hid the relationship because of concern about their age difference, end quote. No matter what the relationship, Lib has been good for him.
Just about supper time.
In 1981, she moved them to Nashville, where she managed another club. There, she hired her protege as a short order cook, and between shifts, Randy sang on stage. For 3 years, Randy Ray, as he called himself, cooked, sang, and shopped his music to every record label in town. No one bit. Finally, a Warner Brothers record executive felt that country fans were turned off by the crossover trend of current country stars to pop, and decided to gamble on Randy Ray if he changed his name.
I came along at the right time. Just something different than what had been happening for so many years, I guess. And I think timing was a big part of it. And I think I was very fortunate, too, in having some songs that were extremely good songs.
Hello.
If the sound of Randy Travis is country, the selling of Randy Travis is mainstream. Lib hired a PR company to promote him, had him sell real things, and snagged appearances in publications and programs country fans probably don't even see. He's toured with the USO for the past 3 years, entertaining and being entertained by servicemen and their families. And it seems once you hear a Travis hit, it's hard to forget the words.
Forever and ever, amen.
Still, he remains shy, though he says he's come a long way since he used to tear up his songs rather than show them to anyone, and since he gave his first radio interview.
I was scared to death. I didn't know what to say, you know, or how to say it. And it was in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we went to a commercial break, and Tommy Fell was the guy's name. He said, "Now, Randy, you're going to have to talk to me a little more." Said, "They can't hear you nod your head over the radio." And so I had to get used to it. I had to work at that a lot.
So thanks for coming out. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. Sound like everybody's having a good time so far.
At 31, he's at the top of his form, touring a little less and enjoying it more. He works out while on the road, dropping in at gyms to lift weights, ride a bike, or walk a treadmill. He's even managed to add some weight to that slight 5-foot 10-inch frame. And if he drinks now, he says it's mostly milkshakes.
Your heroes will help you find good in yourself. Your friends won't forsake you for somebody else. They'll both stand beside you through thick and through thin. And that's how it goes with heroes and friends.
It should come as no surprise that one of Randy's heroes and friends is Roy Rogers. Randy has made a television special with the King of Cowboys and named one of his own horses Trigger, Trigger 2. Happy trails.
When